Hey, what's up folks, how's it going? This is Waj, hope you guys are all doing well, and in this video we're going to be talking about some of the best game controllers for your PC. Now certainly a keyboard and mouse is one of the best ways to play first-person shooters, RPGs, and of course real-time strategy games, but for certain games such as platformers or fighting games and racing games, you really can't beat the simplicity and convenience of a gamepad. Plus, with devices such as the Steam Link, Steam Machines, and VR systems such as the Oculus Rift, choosing the right controller is becoming more and more important as the gaming landscape becomes more diversified. So here we're going to take a look at the 4 top game controllers that will work for the PC in order to determine which one is right for you. So if you're interested, let's get right into it. Now specifically, we're going to be taking a look at 4 different controllers for the PC. The first one is going to be the classic Xbox 360 controller. The other one is going to be the new Xbox One controller for the PC, the PlayStation 4, the DualShock 4 controller, and lastly, we're going to be taking a look at the all-new Steam controller that got released a couple of months ago. Now what we're going to do is go through each of the controllers and talk about the advantages and disadvantages that each controller presents when playing certain games on the PC. Now first off, we're going to talk about the good old-fashioned Microsoft Xbox 360 controller. Now obviously many people have these controllers lying around. It's definitely the most cheapest option. You can find them for in around $20 to $30, no problem, and you can use them either through a wired play and charge kit or through a wireless transmitter. Another great thing about this controller is it's universally compatible for pretty much thousands of games on the PC, and it's certainly the most established controller in this lineup, being the most mature platform for modern contemporary gaming titles. And interesting, in reality, pretty much all of the other controllers are kind of mapped off the control scheme and mapping of the Microsoft 360 controller. So this is really the grandfather of most modern gamepads. Now in terms of downsides, the 360 controller doesn't present really any, besides the fact that you can't really play any games designed for the keyboard and mouse, which is becoming more and more popular with people playing games on a couch-based experience in their living rooms, and controllers like the Steam controllers that have the dual touchpads will fulfill that need, and obviously this controller can't do everything in that regard. Now moving on, we're going to take a look at the new Microsoft Xbox One controller. Now you can certainly get the wired Xbox One controller designed specifically for the PC, and that comes with a wired connection that will connect directly to your PC and work natively like an Xbox 360 controller. You can also use the standard console controller for the Xbox One if you buy the Microsoft wireless dongle for the PC. Now in terms of functionality and even ergonomics, it's pretty much identical to the Microsoft 360 controller. And besides the fact that it's a more modern, updated design of the original 360 controller, there's really not a lot of advantages that this controller presents. In fact, some of the downsides are, one, that it is certainly a pricey controller compared to the original 360 controller, and the D-pad isn't that great, not a lot of tactile feel, and there's really not a lot of key travel on that D-pad, which is not ideal if you play a lot of platformers, emulators, or fighting games. Now next, we have the Sony DualShock 4. Now this of course was designed for the PlayStation 4, so really not made for the PC, but thanks to the DS4 Tool for Windows 10 and 8, you can map pretty much all the controls of your PC or even a Microsoft 360 controller to the DualShock 4, which gives you all the functionality of pretty much any other controller that you can get for the PC. And one of the great things about the DualShock 4 is that you can actually map the mouse functionality to the central touchpad, thereby giving you the ability to navigate through windows or even control games designed for the mouse and keyboard. Some other advantages include the fact that ergonomics are fantastic, especially if you're used to a PlayStation ecosystem or you already have a PlayStation 4. You can use that controller to control your PC games. Furthermore, I think the D-pad on the DualShock 4 is definitely better than the ones that you find on Microsoft controllers, so if you're going to play Street Fighter on your PC, this is definitely the controller to get. Now in terms of disadvantages, there's really not too many to think of, besides the fact that you do have to run the DS4 client all the time in order to get the full functionality and to work properly with the PC, and the fact that there is no wireless option from the PC to the DualShock 4 controller. You always are bounded by the USB connection, which is not ideal, especially if you're far away from your PC or if you just want to not deal with any wires. Now lastly, we're going to talk about about the newest controller in this lineup, and that is the Steam controller. Now, the Steam controller was obviously designed by Valve in order to address the issue of playing keyboard and mouse centric games on a gamepad, and the solution that they came up with is basically having two large circular concave touchpads that have HD haptic feedback system that will emulate the functionality of a virtual trackball or an adaptive centering joystick. Now, that essentially gives you the ability to play any game designed for the keyboard and mouse with this gamepad. Now, is it a perfect experience that encompasses all the capabilities and sensation of playing with a mouse and keyboard? I would say definitely not, but from a functional standpoint, it does succeed in giving you the ability to play real-time strategy games or any game that utilizes the full functionality of your computer mouse. Now, as we mentioned before, it's not a perfect experience, but if you want to play real-time strategy games or any title designed for the keyboard and mouse, this is definitely something that will give you most of the functionality you need to play on your television or in any kind of couch gaming experience. Now, besides the implementation of the touchpad, there's really no major problems with the Steam controller, besides the fact that you don't really have a proper D-pad. So if you like to play a lot of platformer games, emulators, or even fighting games, this is probably not the controller for you. After all that, here lies the question that everyone wants to address, is which one of these controllers is going to be the best for you. And obviously, that's going to depend upon your personal needs and preferences. In most situations, the best one, the default choice, is going to be the Microsoft 360 controller. One, it's probably a controller that you already have. Two, it's very, very cheap and inexpensive to get. If you don't have one already, perhaps you can even find one for free, but even brand new, it's under $30, so there's really no excuse there. For me personally, I really do like the DualShock 4 controller, besides the fact that you do have to run that utility tool in order for you to actually use it with the PC. There's really no major disadvantages from my experience. I definitely like the Steam controller's implementation, and it does give you the most functionality for keyboard and mouse centric games, although it definitely doesn't encompass the performance and full capabilities of a proper keyboard and mouse experience. It's there from a functional standpoint and excellent if you want to make a Steam machine that will play any of your PC games in a couch or living room type of environment. And the Xbox One controller is definitely not bad. The only major disadvantage is regarding the price. It costs almost a double, or if not more, than a 360 controller, and it doesn't provide any inherent benefits, as we mentioned before. Now, of course, if you already have an Xbox One console, you can just use your controller and get that wireless receiver kit for your PC in order to give it the full PC functionality, and that way you have a controller both for your console and your PC. So there's definitely an advantage there if you're in that situation. But really, on that, guys, that's really it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, give us a thumbs up. That really helps us out tremendously, and definitely let me know in the comment section down below which controller you guys think has the most to offer, which one is right for you. Definitely love to hear what you guys have to say. Additionally, we recently created a build guide for a 4K gaming console PC. So if you want to basically build a console destroyer that is about the size of the next generation consoles but plays all your favorite PC games at full 4K resolution, definitely check out that video if you're interested. But really, for this video, that's really it. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.